Hey friends, it's Chris from Protect Young Eyes, and it's this week's Tech News and Trends for April 24th, 2024. This is where Isaac and I go out, capture what we see trending, pull it all together, put it in a bundle so that you don't have to do that. Why? Because you don't have time. And I don't want you using your precious time to do that. I want you to use this information to then apply it to your kids and help create a safer digital space. Chat by chat, step by step, showing you how you can do that for your kids. I have 8 different things that I want to share with you today. The first one, number one, is that Roblox keeps coming up in all of my parent presentations, and parents completely underestimate the power of Roblox. Friends, Roblox is not a game or an app. Roblox is a massive gaming universe with tens of millions of games and tens of millions of users all of the time. If you're going to let your kid use Roblox, then you need to use it first. As an adult, create a kid's profile and use it and walk around and interact and see what they are going to see. There's a reason Roblox often makes the Dirty Dozen list for the National Center of Sexual Exploitation, because it's a game that exploits kids. Now, it does have good parental controls, but you've got to know how to use them. Down below, our guide is there to walk you through it step by step. Number 2, we want to tell you what's trending in the App Store. Now, different countries have different versions of the App Store, whether it's on Google or Apple. But here in the US, the 5 things that are in the top 5 right now. Number 1, Delta, Temu, Threads, Shein, and Google. Now, Delta, it's not the Delta Airlines app. It's a game emulator, which allows you to build games for other applications. Really popular right now with kids here. Number 2 is Temu, which is the Amazon of China. A lot of things that I don't want kids to see. Do not let them browse through that app. Number 3 is Threads. Threads is the Twitter version or X version of Instagram. It now has AI. I'll get to that in just a minute. Number 4 is Shein, another Chinese app, and this is shopping for clothing. Number 5 is Google. And honorable mention, number 6 is TikTok, which means that at least here in the US, 3 of the top 6 apps would be impacted by legislation that I'll describe in just a minute. Number 3, as I just said, Meta, which is Facebook, Threads, Instagram, and WhatsApp, billions of humans all over the world are controlled by Meta, now has AI in its search, and you can't turn it off. Just like in Snapchat with their My AI, you can't turn it off. And when users ask the AI in Facebook to comment on something, Facebook pins that comment, and now you're not sure what's real and what's not. Now, I don't want this to scare anybody. I don't like the fact that we can't turn it off, but I wanted to create conversation with our kids, because those who have Instagram and WhatsApp and these places are going to notice the little circle that is now the Meta AI bot, the chat bot. Talk to them about that. Encourage them not to share information with it that they don't want shared, because who knows privacy-wise what is going on with what we share with that chatbot. So be careful. Number 4, 2 weeks ago, we reported on the bravery of sophomore girls here in New York who had been the victims of deep fakes of them being shared with classmates. Now, unfortunately, the school really didn't do much, so they took matters into their own hands. And because of their bravery, now New York State is moving a bill that would ban these sort of images. And legislators in 24 states are working on bills or have passed similar bills to combat AI-generated sexually explicit images of minors. And we love that teens are the ones that are making this happen. Number 5, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, often called NCMEC, is losing the battle against child sexual abuse material, also called CSAM. We have a combination of 3 horrible things happening all at once right now. And this is reported in the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post. 3 things. Number 1, NCMEC has antiquated system. It's not their fault. They don't have adequate funding to update their system, so they're still passing around paper folders of content. Number 2, you have AI, which scales and makes all kinds of horrible content, millions of images at a time. And then number 3, you have end-to-end encryption, which a lot of parents are asking for because they want privacy, but then that privacy sacrifices protection and safety of kids. And friends, this is just a powder keg waiting to explode. And I think for some, it already has exploded. because only a minuscule fraction of CSAM makes its way to NCMEC, and then only a fraction of those cases ever contain enough reporting for law enforcement to do anything. And yet, that minuscule fraction of a minuscule fraction equaled over 100 million videos and images in 2023. The real harm is almost immeasurable. We have to do something. We have to pass laws that are going to dig into these spaces to scan content. I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but we have to. We cannot allow this kind of content to just grow exponentially. Number 6, a school in Colorado tried to ban smartphones, but parents fought back. Some parents even pulled their kids from the school. Now, eventually the school relented a little bit. It wasn't a full-out ban. It wasn't a way for the day policy, which is actually good, but it showed that parents are the ones who want to be in constant contact with their kids. They want to communicate all the time, and they're afraid of school shootings. But here's the reality. Kids are not smart with their phones, meaning it's not their fault. They have lower grades when their devices are around them. Number 2, they're less safe with their phones. It doesn't make them safer. I don't want them on a phone in a school shooter situation. I want them focused on the adult to get out alive. Now, we have a whole guide, Phone-Free Schools. You can go to phonesfreeschools.com, and you'll be directed to a guide that you can share with all the research. I hope it's helpful. Number 7, the House here in the US just passed a different version of a bill seeking to ban TikTok in an effort to have the bill do better in the Senate, where it will be headed next. And President Biden has said that he will sign the bill if it reaches him. Now, this revision calls out foreign companies and specifically requests ByteDance to sell TikTok within 9 months, or it will be banned across the entire United States. Now, even if the bill gets to the Senate and it passes, and even if it gets to President Biden and it's signed into law, we know that it's going to be challenged in court. So sit tight. Not sure what's happening there yet. Don't freak out. If you have a TikTok account and that freaks you out a little bit, I don't know what's going to happen next, but we'll report as soon as we do. And number 8, Fight the New Drug had a post this past week written by Heidi Olson, someone who we know have appreciated for a long time. Heidi is a sexual abuse nurse examiner, and she works at a children's hospital. And she explains how porn is grooming young people to accept violence and abuse within relationships. What she talked about in this post, which is just horrible to read, is that porn showcases violent actions against women. And then when kids are exposed to this kind of graphic content, which is extremely easy to find, it changes the way that they think and behave. Why? Because we process imagery so much faster and more effectively than text. So what we see matters, and especially in young brains. And so in this post, it talks about 3 major themes that are highlighted in most of the porn that is available today. And this is what's impacting kids. Number 1, that sex is not intimate and it's not mutual. It's always about whatever the male wants, no matter how painful or scary that might seem. Number 2, that women in it say no, but they still pretend to like what is happening. And then number 3, that violence is sexy and fun. And Olson goes on to support these claims. I just want to read a couple of quotes. She says, I constantly see these themes play out with many teenagers that I encounter in the hospital. As I talk with kids who are the victims of sexual assault, the way pornography has played a role in their trauma is undeniable. It's cultural grooming, and it's creating huge vulnerabilities. Friends, we've written a post, Peer-on-Peer Sexual Abuse, that can help you with some steps that you can cover, things to understand, conversation starters with your kids to show you step-by-step how to walk through this really horrible issue. You can find a link to that down below. So friends, there you go. That's this week's Tech News and Trends. We'll see you next time.